You only need to know me. I will be the one.
This video contains spoilers for One Piece Chapter 1113. But first, I wanted to update you all and let you know that chapter reviews will be returning and moving to the Vinland Leaks channel. So if you had originally subscribed to this channel years ago, because of chapter reviews, well, hopefully you won't mind subscribing to 2 channels at once. A lot of different videos are currently being planned. And in a few days I'll be dropping a video about the darkest plot twist in One Piece that could be around the corner. So look forward to that. So chapter 1113 starts out with a color spread of the Straw Hats with Nico Robin as a sort of player one moving chess pieces on the board. Nico Robin is playing chess, and the chess pieces on the chessboard are the rest of the Straw Hat crew. I think this furthers a theory that I have also pushed in the community that One Piece is in part a game. Whether chess or shogi, who knows? We got a glimpse of shogi during the Battle of Onigashima. But in a regular game of chess, there are 2 kings on the board. 2 king pieces at play. The king of the world, Imu Narona, and the king of the pirates. In the past, this pirate king was Goldie Roger. In the future, this pirate king is likely to be Monkey D. Luffy. We see different Straw Hats assigned to different chess pieces. The pawns or pawn pieces are Chopper. The rooks are Frankie and Jinbei. The knights are Zoro and Sanji. The bishops are Brook and Usopp. But most importantly, the queen is depicted as Nami is sitting on a throne with a crown on her head. I say this is important because many question whether Imu is a man, or the voice of a man, or male demon, devil, spirit, whatever you want to call it, possessing the body of a woman. Queen Nefertari D. Lily, who mysteriously disappeared and never actually returned to Alabasta, where it was stated she had originally planned on going. And so Nami is a female king, based on this chessboard depiction. A female ruler, rather, and so a queen. A pirate queen, even, sitting on a throne. Like any other king, or anybody else that rose to such heights, we have to ask, how did she get there? And yes, some might be thinking I'm looking too deeply into this, it's just a color spread, but bear with me. Queen Lily might be Imu Narona, sitting on the empty throne, is what many believe. But to be fair, this is complicated by the revelation that the name Imu belonged to one of the 20 kings that founded the current world government around the time of the Void Century. So how could Imu and Lily possibly be the same person? That doesn't really make any sense. But if you can set that clear issue aside, that contradiction, there is something else about Nami sitting on the throne as a queen, as if sitting on the empty throne is Imu. Nami is considered to be a sort of weather witch, using science to manipulate the weather. She has now since combined her science with a devil fruit by way of Big Mom's cloud, Zeus Homie. Devil fruits are sort of magic in One Piece, the unexplained. And so think of it as Nami using science and magic, a weather witch, perhaps relying on knowledge and abilities that existed during the ancient kingdom. This science, devil fruit magic combo, stands out when you think of the Gorosei and their magic circles. The defense minister and warrior god of science Saturn appearing on Egghead Island from a magic circle himself. If this color spread of Nami sitting on the throne as a queen really does allude to Imu Narona, then control over the weather is important. Especially given the destruction of Luzia Kingdom and how right before something appeared over that island to destroy it, the weather changed. The skies above became cloudy, stormy, dark, and destruction rained down from the heavens, leading some to question if this was the work of Uranus or a Uranus-like weapon. The worries expressed by the Gorosei this chapter over what would happen if the island's power plant was destroyed. How the Gorosei would be unable to create another mother flame. This worry seems to hint that the mother flame is no different than Enel's Arc Maxim. The Arc Maxim uses electricity. The mother flame uses light energy or laser beams or fire or plasma as hot as the sun. But just maybe neither one is actually the ancient weapon Uranus that Ivankovan Dragon questioned the weapon that Destroy Luzia Kingdom could be. That instead these are copycats, and just maybe Uranus is still out there somewhere. Although to be fair, we still don't know if Uranus is just a man-made weapon, like the battleship Pluton is believed to be. And so again, the possibility of recreating it makes sense. Or whether Uranus is a person, like Poseidon or Shirahoshi. If Uranus is a person, then Uranus would have control over something or things that destroy on their behalf, like the Sea Kings. The Gurusei worrying over the Mother Flame gives the impression that it's needed in the same way that the blueprints to recreate Pluton are needed, almost to serve as a counter in case someone got their hands on the real thing. Or maybe a darker, more powerful threat is out there, and the two kings of One Piece that we've been introduced to, the Pirate King and the King of the World, are not truly each other's final enemies, that whoever rises on top between those two, there's a bigger, badder boss out there, that something with the destructive power of the ancient weapons is needed for, even if using them might destroy the world. I'll also briefly mention something I planned for another video. It isn't just Enel who Imu has similarities to, it's also Crocodile. Crocodile, who was introduced as Mr. Zero, a man pulling the strings of the mysterious crime syndicate Baroque Works from the shadows. And just as we question the man or woman conundrum over Imu's true identity, the same has been questioned about Crocodile. Both Enel and Crocodile rose to power by usurping and overthrowing the king of their respective countries, Gonfall and Nefertari D. Cobra, the former god and king. And the following really stands out to me. Enel gave the weather witch Nami a front row seat to his Arc Maxim and its destructive power. The Arc Maxim, also believed to be a replica of Uranus, seemed to manipulate the weather as well before destroying a sky island. Crocodile was even alluded to manipulating the weather with dance powder. Crocodile had been using rain powder to control the climate and prevent rain from falling on the kingdom of Alabasta, creating artificial conflicts and wars in the process. If that theory about inversion and Roger's words to turn the world upside down holds true, then inverting Crocodile we get Imu Nerona, controlling the weather to not cause a drought and remove water, but instead, Imu causing a flood with water, and the sea levels of the world rising, maybe floods resulting in the same outcome of artificial conflicts and wars. We can take the inversion further with Crocodile's Delphoid ability being sand, and how it dries things out, absorbs water even. Crocodile's Delphoid operating as a parallel to the dance powder used to manipulate the weather. And so maybe Imu's potential Delphoid ability is an inversion of Crocodile's. Instead of drying out, instead of sand, Imu's powers might be tied to the water. The clash between Imu and Sabo furthers the chess piece narrative even as Sabo attacked the King of the World, the King Piece, with a move called Rook Check. Imu's King Piece was then defended by the Gurusei pieces surrounding him. Some have even pointed out how easily Imu snuffed out Sabo's fire after transforming alongside the Gurusei, as if dousing the flames with water. Water, and so maybe the Sea Devil? The flooding of the One Piece world in the aftermath using the Mother Flame, the very flood that Vegapunk's final message seems to be about. The flooding that might have resulted from, or caused, the destruction of the world in the past. What we just covered, though, about there potentially being a dark force the world government was up against in the past outside of the ancient kingdom, why the ancient weapons might have been needed. Vegapunk's shocking message is delivered alongside a view of the sea, almost as if the sea is presented as having a living presence of its own, that the sea is alive, or something down there is. Vegapunk says the conclusion of his research suggests this world will sink into the sea. You have to wonder if the Gurusei expected this. Are they aware of this outcome already? Regardless, why would someone want to intentionally raise the sea levels? Or why is the sea rising so threatening? To erase humanity, to erase all life forms. Wouldn't the fishmen still survive? Is it a tactic of last resort reserved for when the people of the world learn too much or science advances too fast, threatening the existence of the broader planet? For those of you that have seen or read Three-Body Problem, Vegapunk told us that the sea, Mother Nature, hates devil fruit users, views them as an abomination. I pointed out before that it sounds like the Sea Devil and Mother Nature, as the sea, are two different entities, that Mother Nature, the sea, and the Sea Devil are not one and the same. After all, why would you hate what you create? And so for whatever reason, the Sea Devil created devil fruits, and Mother Nature must hate the Sea Devil for doing so, I would imagine. But it could be that the Sea Devil is not Imu Neurona after all, as there are many devils in One Piece depending on where you stand, how you see the world. And so from our perspective, Imu is a devil. Vegapunk adding to the previous sentiments of Doflamingo and Aokiji, as Roger was labeled a devil. The scholars of Ohara are seen as devils, and Imu Neurona is depicted as a devil ruling over hell in the Holy Land. What if there's an actual sea devil out there? A devil of the sea, whose treasure was stolen. The devil fruit stolen from the sea. And that is also in part why the sea is so angry. Why the sea has the ability to influence, weaken, and drown devil fruit users. Like a mother calling children back into her arms. There is a panel of Doflamingo that foreshadows Imu Neurona as Doflamingo's people bow to him, just like the Gorosei bow to Imu. We are told one day Doflamingo would acquire power to become king of the entire sea. To achieve this, Doflamingo was given a devil fruit, given the power of the devil to become king of the sea, and he seeks the national treasure of the Holy Land to conquer the world, and in doing so, conquer the sea. Could it be that the sea itself hides a dark secret, a monster in waiting, a force yet to be revealed, slumbering in the deep? And so in a way the sea levels rising is akin to a monster swallowing the world. Could it be that the sea resents those that seek to conquer it? Why Imu sits atop the red line, far removed from the water? Why the Tequila Wolf Bridge is being built high above the water as well, so that you can travel by land instead of by boat, instead of having to sail the sea. The flooding of the world would end up swallowing devil fruit users and any devil fruits that just so happen to be lying around. What would happen if a devil fruit fell into the sea? Vegapunk is yet to explain Sea Stone and the mysterious energy that the sea apparently radiates, or how this energy of the sea was trapped in stone, how the sea was imprisoned, conquered, enslaved. The idea of the sea being angry. When Imu destroyed Luzia Kingdom and the sea levels rose right after, leaving a hole in the sea as if a gateway to another world, another dimension, like devil fruits, unless this hole has suddenly been filled by now. Last we saw it, it looked like it was endless. Oda draws the scene of the sea where the hole now is, and the surrounding terrain as turbulent, unruly, as if the sea was angry. Mother Nature was angry. When answering a fan question about how strong Akainu was, Oda then proceeds to describe mothers. Oda says, "It's no-brainer that a mother in general is the strongest creature in the world. She is stronger than Kaido, but she loves you more than anyone." Oda has also said on another occasion that mothers are the opposite of adventure, that mothers are a repressive force, and that's why he doesn't really give them a major role in the story. This is not so much hate as it is love. As Oda said, a mother loves you more than anyone. Too protective. And so have we confused the hatred of the sea with love? Is it instead Mother Nature's love, the power of love that Vegapunk and others have mentioned, that gives off that mysterious energy, This might seem like a reach, but Oda uses Boa Hancock to associate love with stone. The sea's love, turned into stone, binds you to, maybe. And so when it comes to the chessboard, players 1 and 2, there could be a player 3, a third controller. There is a pirate king, a king of the world, and a sea king, the sea itself. And as ships can house spirits called Klabatermen, if ancient giant robots from the past can move on their own, then why can't the sea have a spirit too? Can the sea really be alive? Does the sea exist to make the journey of pirates harder or easier? Does Mother Nature hate or love? Is the sea misunderstood? Could this tie into another part of Vegapunk's message this chapter, something as curious as it is ominous? Vegapunk said, "Whoever ends up killing me, I don't blame them as being evil. I will not label anyone as good or evil, since I don't understand him enough to do so." Him must be a reference to the king of the world, to Imu. Vegapunk is implying something that we'll touch on in the darkest plot twist video dropping next week, hopefully. But if Imu is a god, or has somehow become a god, Vegapunk alluding to his knowledge that a god exists in this world when he described Mother Nature and the sea, as well as the existence of devil fruits and how they came to be. But if Imu is a god, or has somehow become this god, the creator as the Gorosei call him, the mother flame, the flooding of the world ties into the book of Genesis, the first book of the Bible. The same book, it appears, that Ivankov shows Sabo when revealing the name of Imu as Imu Narona, as if to maybe hint by Oda that Imu came to power by flooding the world in the past, perhaps. But the book of Genesis, the first book of the Bible, 10 generations after the creation of Adam, the first man, God saw that the earth was corrupt and filled with violence, and so he decided to destroy what he had created. Could it be that the sea, or sea devil, created devil fruits, but now sees how people have used these powers corruptly, violently? How dreams have brought about nightmares on the world, and has now decided to flood and destroy the world? Or in another sense, could it be that Imu Narona has decided to bring an end to his own era and usher in a new void century? A new Genesis, starting from scratch. If you can't beat the opposing player, flood the board. Flip the table over and walk off. Is Imu evil? Is the sea hateful? Do these terms even matter to these players in the story? How does the power to control the weather tie into becoming the king of the sea, whether pirate king or king of the world? A little bit of research taught me that the weather can have a significant impact on the sea. For example, changes in temperature, wind patterns, and storms can all affect the conditions of the sea, including the water temperature, currents, and the height of the waves. If you can manipulate the weather, you can cause hurricanes and typhoons. This is why it is important for sailors and mariners to closely monitor weather conditions before heading out to sea to ensure their safety. The sea can be a friend to those chasing adventure, but also an enemy to those sailing the waters. We saw this at the end of Chapter 1 and the start of Chapter 2. The sea itself, in the form of a Sea King, attacked Luffy and Shanks and took Shanks' arm. The narrator tells us that the sea is an unpredictable place. It's not something humans can control. Words that relate to Rayleigh asking Luffy, over a decade later, if he could conquer the oceans. Can Luffy control this wild sea? 10 years later, it seems like the same Sea King from before attacks Luffy again, as if to say how dare he challenge the sea to become Pirate King. And at the start of Chapter 2, Luffy swallowed by a massive whirlpool, attacked by the very sea itself, spiraling like the swirl patterns on the very devil fruits it supposedly hates. the sea refuses to be conquered. There can only be one king, and the power to control the weather might just give you the power to control the world, the sea, and become its king. Now, there's something mind-blowing that I ran back to add to this video before we get into the ending. We talked about the Sea Devil. Do you remember a chapter titled Adventure in the Devil's Sea, or Adventure in the Demonic Sea? This is chapter 442, and it kicks off the Thriller Bark arc. Chapter 490. The Devil's Sea is also known as the Florian Triangle. The narrator tells us that nobody knows what occurs in the mysterious sea called the Florian Triangle. Every year, hundreds of ships disappear into the mist. This has long been a mystery, and the narrator goes on to mention that the Straw Hats were fortunate that the mist concealed the sea's bizarre face. This choice of words makes it sound like the sea was alive or something was lurking out there in the mist. That the sea has a face and was watching, but the mist kept the Straw Hats out of view, protected them from the devil's view. I don't know if this is a reach, but as the Straw Hats leave Thriller Bark and escape the Florian Triangle, we see the giant red-eyed shadowy creature in the mist make a sound. This might be a reach, but the manga kanji for the sound of this Florian Triangle shadow, this creature in the mist in the Devil's Sea, looks the same as the kanji when the Gorosei and Imu transform into yokai demons in the Holy Land. But maybe it's just a coincidence and a common sound effect, as I've seen it in other instances where something airy is going on. But the good fortune that the narrator alludes to, the strong luck of the crew that helped them leave the bizarre sea with their lives, in the narrator's words. It reminds me of the whirlpool I just mentioned that came for Luffy out of nowhere. How luck again made sure he survived. And something else. The same chapter after leaving the Florian Triangle, the Straw Hats eventually arrive at the Red Line near the Holy Land of Marijoa. It is here that Luffy announces that he will one day return as the Pirate King, in a way the King of the Sea. Unbeknownst to Luffy, he was making a declaration at the doorstep of the King of the World. But what else do you notice in these panels? The same cloud of mist that was present near Thriller Bark in the Devil's Sea is surrounding the Red Line and the Thousand Sunny. When Nami asks what the Straw Hats can see, they respond by telling Nami they think they saw the eyeball of a sea monster. It turns out to be a Sea King, the King of the Sea in a way. Coincidence? Maybe. Or Oda hinting that the sea is always watching, always after them, just like Imu, alive in some way. And you could argue what they notice is meant to draw our attention back to those giant Florian Triangle shadows and how Charlotte Lola noticed their movements in the mist as well, when Thriller Bark ended. The connection many in the One Piece community have drawn to these shadows is the legend of the Umibozu. Umibozu translates to Sea Priest, Spirit, or Sea Deity, a giant humanoid yokai from Japanese folklore. The Umibozu has a black figure similar to Imu's consistent black silhouette character design. Imu's name spelled backwards is Umi, and it's been pointed out this means sea or ocean in Japanese. Imu has been depicted as a devil, and so altogether we get the Sea Devil. Umibozu normally appear before sailors on calm seas and turn those seas tumultuous, making the journey of sailors on the water difficult. Umibozu are known for destroying ships and drowning sailors. Like Imu, the Umibozu is known for its piercing eyes, much like that of a Buddha. Buddha or God being another translation of Imu's name. And while I don't know if Imu is going to be a Umibozu yokai, Oda could simply be drawing inspiration as Imu appears tied to other mythological figures unrelated to the sea. The most striking part of this mythology is escaping the Umibozu by using a barrel, the same way Luffy survived the sea's whirlpool at the start of Chapter 2. by using a barrel. Going back to chapter 442, Adventure in the Demon or Devil's Sea, we see a barrel floating in the water with a message that reads, "Former treasure of the sea god." It's explained that these barrels can be left by sailors praying for a safe voyage, and so they have to check in with the sea god. They check in with the sea god and acquire a safe voyage by making an offering to the god of the sea or the guardian deities of the sea. Usopp warns about being cursed if you steal the sea god's treasure, kind of like the curse you get from eating the devil fruit of the sea devil. And some consider devil fruits to be treasures of the sea. So eating a devil fruit is like stealing treasure. Just as the sea punishes devil fruit users in attempts to drown them. After taking the barrel left as treasure for the sea god, a flare explodes in the sky, creating a giant red glow, like Imu's red eye. No different than the fireworks at the end of Wano. And then Nami notices a storm suddenly approaching after they had just been enjoying calm weather. Following the pattern of the Umibozu sea deity, the barrels as tribute, the piercing red eyes in the mist, the Umibozu turning calm seas tumultuous. We also see these same barrels of tribute during the cover story of Jinbei and Wadatsumi. The same barrels were left as offerings for Wadatsumi, who is described as both a sea god and a giant monk. One of the cover stories says the sea god took someone's home and gave it away as thanks for the offerings, like Imu and the celestial dragon's heavenly tribute. Maybe the sea even swallowing the ancient kingdom, which might have been home to the D clan. Jinbei's solo journey at sea for this cover story, his encounter with the destroyed ancient ruins, and the sign that says Sea God in chapter 767. What if this is connected to Vegapunk's warning that a flood is coming for the world? That in the past, the sea might have swallowed parts of the world, erasing it, washing everything away. That the sea was somehow angered or disrupted, and rose up to destroy the ancient kingdom, sinking it beneath the waves, leaving nothing behind. Everything erased. Or maybe the islands themselves, the kingdom itself, was an offering to the sea as mentioned. Another potential connection to Imu is the cover page, which features Enel, who is theorized to be an early foreshadowing of Imu as a god of the One Piece world. The same chapter, chapter 442, titled Adventure in the Devil's Sea. This chapter has a cover page of Enel's adventure in outer space to the moon, where the land is endless and there is no water. And the words read, Divine Judgment on the Non-Believer. And so think of Imu's divine judgment on those that oppose God. Think of Enel raining lightning down from the sky to eradicate not just individual people but entire islands, entire sky islands. Think again of the parallel of Imu using the Mother Flame to erase an entire island too. Divine judgment. This erasure and the resulting hole that formed in the middle of the ocean, how the island has essentially been lost. This ties into other stories or legends of islands lost to the sea. Besides the lost kingdom of Atlantis, there is a location known as the Bermuda Triangle that resides in the Atlantic Ocean that Oda confirmed was the inspiration for the Florian Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is also known as the Devil's Triangle. This triangle reminds me of the Gates of Justice, beyond which lies an island with another massive hole in the water. But the chapter name, Devil's Sea, is also an actual reference to another mysterious sea in the Pacific Ocean near Japan, south of Tokyo. The Florian Triangle near Thriller Bark once again fits because the sea near Japan also bears the name Devil's Triangle. It's also called the Pacific Bermuda Triangle as well as the Dragon's Triangle. Just as the Bermuda Triangle is infamous for aircraft and boats disappearing without a trace, their presence erased, it is said that the Pacific Ocean may be cursed with its own equally lethal paranormal phenomenon. For centuries, Japanese fishermen have been lost to what they call the waters of Manomi, or Ma no Umi, the Devil's Sea. It is apparently the Chinese that refer to the Devil's Sea, Monomi, as the Dragon Triangle, and this stems from what is known as the Dragon Legend. Ancient Chinese records tell of a restless dragon surfacing from the darkness of the ocean and taking unfortunate sailors back to their underground lairs. This should remind you of the dragon image that was used to portray and describe the sea currents of One Piece, I believe, when Nami and Frankie were talking about it. Legends dating back to 1000 BC tell of underwater palaces inhabited by dragons, and of a great slumbering dragon which lived in the cavern beneath the sea. Think of the dragon statue of the royal palace of Fishman Island, the Ryugu Palace, literally meaning Dragon Imperial Palace. Legend says the slightest movement by this underwater dragon will create waves, whirlpools, thick fog, and even storms. And again, ships tend to go missing. For One Piece, the disappearance of entire islands is possible too. But when it comes to Luzia Kingdom, the following real events can't be overlooked. In August of 1945, a fighter aircraft supposedly went missing. A distress radio transmission from Commander Pilot Shiro Kawamoto went out as he crossed the Devil's Sea near the end of World War II. The last thing his message said was, "Something is happening in the sky. The sky is opening up." If you recall, the skies over Luzia Kingdom had opened up before the Mother Flame appeared. And just as we can overhear reports warning that nobody should sail any closer to the hole left behind in the waters formerly surrounding the island of Luzia, after the continued disappearance of vessels around the Devil's Sea in the Pacific Ocean, Japanese authorities also labeled that sea as a danger zone to avoid. Overall, there are both mystic and scientific explanations for why people, ships, and other things went and continue to go missing in these waters. The only question left to ask is, what does any of this have to do with the Sea Devil, the coming flood, and the sea itself? Is Imu the Sea Devil, or is the Sea Devil something or someone else entirely? It's been a while since we mentioned chess, but who exactly is the ruler of this sea, the king of this board? Could it even be that the Sea Devil is not a devil, but instead just a god? History rewritten. And so it is the Sea God that gave people the gift of powers that answer their dreams. Kind of like the dragon Shenron from Dragon Ball, that would make wishes come true. People dreamt of abilities that would allow them to challenge God, making a deal with the devil to defeat God, defying their nature, and devil fruits were born. And as the pseudo-god, a fake god, Imu sends a biblical flood every now and then to put these devils back in their place, underwater where they belong, returning dreams to their origin. Maybe that is the disconnect, as we still don't know if the Gorosei and Imu have devil fruit abilities themselves. Are they also afraid of the water? If they don't have devil fruit powers, maybe this explains why. And before we close out the video, imagine if the One Piece is a legendary treasure that was stolen from the sea god by the ancient kingdom pirate known as Joy Boy, and the sea remains angry to this day. Stealing treasure from God is something a pirate king would do, no different than the stories of stealing treasure from dragons. Anyways, given how chapter 1113 ends, the failure of Mars and the other Gorosei to stop Vegapunk's message that has begun to play now that Vegapunk's heart has stopped, and he is believed to have died. Although, what is death, right? Given all this, it would appear Oda is writing the following. Checkmate. Imu Narona is cornered. He can't hide anymore. With the help of the Straw Hats, Vegapunk has successfully navigated enemy pieces on the board to deliver a final warning. You could argue this has been a chess game dating back hundreds of years. Joy Boy has returned, and this king is a fighting piece, now making a move. The game is almost over, and Vegapunk's broadcast is the closest anyone has gotten thus far to taking down the king of the world. But as usual, We will have to wait and see. Don't forget to like the video, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe. You can also find me on Twitter at the following address, @Vinland Ragnar. My Twitter page is on the screen. Also check out my spoiler channel called Vinland, where I'll be covering the One Piece spoilers, and as I mentioned, the One Piece chapters again, as well as turning your comments into videos. And check out the One Piece news channel, D News, where I'll be covering news in the One Piece community. Again, links will be in the description box and pinned in the comment section below. As always, there's more to come. Until next time.